This is the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast, episode 16, with industry leader Lindsey Rainwater.
If I'm a club operator today and I'm not looking at the live experience with the virtual experience, I think you're missing something there. If it's amplified with technology, it's only going to enhance the user's experience, not rob them of any engagement with humans, but in contrast, allow them to be more connected with people. I think the consumer is looking for consistent results, and we might be going, what's the newest, greatest thing I can offer? And our member might be saying, I would like to lose 5 pounds and feel great.
Welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast for club owners, operators, and fitness professionals. I am your host, Josh Trent, and this is your number one trusted resource for the accelerating world of fitness technology. Each week, we bring you an expert interview with a global influencer at the crossroads of fitness and technology. You'll gain the insights, tools, and inspiration you need to stay connected to the pulse of what matters most for your fitness business in the age of exponential technologies. This podcast is brought to you by support from our outstanding sponsors, Brian O'Rourke and his family of companies, including Videre Ventures, Integris Advisors, Moon Mission Media, and many more. If you're looking for unmatched guidance, capital, insights, or a great speaker or facilitator, Brian and his partners are the go-to resource for your organization. To learn more, visit brianko'rourke.com. We'd also like to thank the Fitness Industry Technology Council, your nonprofit resource for reliable technology information, supported by forward-looking brands who are seeking to drive increased technology adoption in the fitness industry. Make a difference and join at fittechcouncil.org today. With just 2 days till IRSA in Los Angeles, for episode 16, we're learning about using group fitness technology to increase revenue from Lindsey Rainwater, a sought-after business consultant, leadership coach, writer, and presenter in the fitness industry. Besides being one of my good friends, Lindsey has been involved in and around fitness since she was 17 and has met with hundreds of club owners to help maximize their businesses over the course of her career. In this podcast, we're uncovering the impact of simple yet effective techniques to enhance the Group X member experience, understanding how smart technology can support filling classes in peak and off-peak hours, and how to lighten up the space of the Group X room and make it more fun for members while dialing up the live class experience. I know you're really going to love this episode as much as I did. This conversation was sparked from a call I had with Lindsey just a few months ago, where we asked ourselves the big question: what really matters for group fitness and clubs when it comes to technology? For IRSA and for this industry, this question is top of mind for so many in this space. Be sure to stick around for the end of the show as we launch our new segment for the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast, the Fit 6 Round, where we ask our guests 6 great questions for 6 real answers. Now, let's step in to this insightful and fun conversation with Lindsey Rainwater. Lindsey Rainwater is a sought-after business consultant and leadership coach, writer, and presenter. She helps people and organizations enjoy transformational change with enthusiasm for leadership, conscious living, and wellness amplified by technology. As a consultant and coach to the professionals supporting the fitness industry, she's well known for her work in business development strategy, digital marketing, content creation, and change management. Her entrepreneurial spirit and drive has produced a track record of consistent overachievement throughout her career, which has created a unique signature of being a conscious professional who leverages technology to build deep, meaningful relationships while helping her colleagues do the same. Lindsey, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you. Wow, what the intro. Thank you.
You have done so much. That's the least I can do. Lindsey, you've been in the fitness space for almost a decade, starting way back in 2009, Mad Dog Athletics, later as a presenter and a consultant. Since then, you've been really prolific in sharing yourself and your work in the media, but there's a lot about you you've gifted to us online. What's something most people in and out of fitness don't know about you?
Probably the fact that the first time I ever worked in the fitness industry, beyond just being a bit of a child athlete, I started working in health clubs when I was 17 years old. And I don't put that on my LinkedIn profile because it was so long ago, but I ran a very small boutique little health club for women in Arvada, Colorado when I was 17. And that's really what got me the most inspired to be in the fitness industry, probably more so than anything. And I don't talk about that a whole lot. I do think I have one blog post about it. But beyond that, that's something. And then one other fun fact is I'm a chef. So my background in education details out being a chef in addition to some other things.
I did not know that you had some history with fitness when you were 17. This is definitely a calling that's been coming for you for a long time. And we've had the beautiful opportunity to create this friendship and shared energy around the connection between technology and people. Lindsey, this show, Using Group Fitness for Increasing Revenue in Clubs, this is something that came in a conversation with us last year. We were asking ourselves what really matters for group fitness in clubs when it comes to tech. So Ursa is coming up in just a couple days, and this is top of mind for all of us. Before we get into the current state of group fitness and how tech can support, give us a quick snapshot, Linz, of how you became this leader in fitness.
Thank you for asking the question. As far as my path, like I mentioned, the seed was planted at a fairly young age around fitness and health. And my background is of course in the fitness industry, but I spent a decent amount of time between the age of 20 and 25, not in the fitness industry, more so hospitality and working for Starbucks corporate. And, in between my workouts at the end of my day before I returned for my next shift to run my store, I really felt like there was something missing, not being a participant in the fitness industry. So having worked in that club when I was younger and then going to college and pursuing a path in hospitality, I really was yearning and wanted to be a part of the fitness industry because it was a part of my daily life and something was missing. And so from the standpoint of hospitality, to me, hospitality is people serving people. And what better describes being in the fitness industry? We're people serving people no matter what position we find ourselves in, whether you're a personal trainer, a group fitness instructor, or the CEO of an equipment manufacturing company, you are serving the people seeking health, hopefully seeking health. And so my path from there, after I decided I wanted to make the move out of Starbucks and hospitality, I did a bit of networking and I ended up working for Peak Pilates and Mad Dog Athletics in an education arena, specifically with Pilates education, and then Les Mills, and really starting to realize that the group component was such a dynamic way that people engaged within clubs that even in my own workouts, if I went in and I did a series of cardio and lifting versus when I would go to a class, I felt completely different leaving the club. And so that continued to open my own path and what leads me to the work that I do now today, which does have a lot to do with the member experience within the club, but really supporting the providers that help create that experience is really who I'm focused on now.
I really love the way you put it to experience, because Robert Dyer talked about the one thing that hasn't changed in fitness, and that's people. And I really enjoyed how you talked about that, because early on, you're 17, you're working in a club, then flash forward, everything prepared you to do what you do now, which is really helping people understand, hey, how can we use technology in a way where it empowers people on a grand scale? And I think the group fitness environment in a club, I can't think of a better way for people to get excited about continually coming back to the club. When we look at gamification versus the instructors filling classes with or without any tech, unpack for us what you think the group fitness landscape looks like right now, and then maybe we can contrast gamifying it or using it without technology at all.
What a fantastic question, statement, all of the above. So gamification and then the group fitness instructor of that environment. And I think it's really an and statement. So I think that the gamification going with group fitness programming. So if you were to imagine, everybody listening right now, kind of close your eyes and imagine a group fitness space, kind of the glass box in the facility with the hardwood floors and the fluorescent lighting and the big mirrors on 2 to 3 sides of the room, and that being the group fitness space. And there's classes in that room offered throughout the day. And if you were to imagine, people coming in and out of that room, there's already a high level of engagement and dedication from the members attending those classes. And then if you contrast that with the power of gamification, specifically meaning examples where, someone has a heart rate monitor on and the person standing next to them has a heart rate monitor on, and that information is put up on a leaderboard in the corner of the room so that everyone gets to see where they're progressing through the workout. In addition to how they're feeling in their own body, they get to see the results. And maybe if that's the case, the man that I always stand next to in class, because I've, Group X people, they choose their spots and they're very dedicated to their spots. Yeah. That really takes that up a whole nother level. If I'm looking to my left and going, okay, they're in the red zone and I'm not yet. I've got to get there. Whatever that is for you, that intrinsic motivation around that competitive edge, or just even measuring yourself. I think that's one of the things that people love about wearables is they get to track something that maybe they're aware of. They know they're doing the workout, but they want the data to see how well did I do the workout. My opinion is that the gamification in synchronicity with group fitness environments unlocks a whole new level of experience for people because it involves the tech, it involves the fun. And then if you alter the way the room actually feels a little bit and warm it up a little, that's just taking it to a whole nother level. So I think I think we have to have both of those as we look forward to what's possible. And what a great opportunity that URSA is coming right around the corner to shop those things in action and really see what's available out there, because boy, is there a lot of, incredible options.
So many things going on, and the roots run really deep for you because you were interfacing with club owners for years. Looking back, Linz, is there one club or maybe a handful that stuck out that did a really good job of incorporating the gamification, the member experience, the technology? What were they doing right when you look back?
I think to leave, not to name names particular, I remember there was one club in particular that they did a fantastic job of adding some lighting in, very simple lighting, where all of a sudden they lowered the lights in the classroom where they had a little bit of natural light coming in, but no fluorescence. And then from there, they added colored lighting, just like you would see in a dance club or something, a disco ball. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think they added more bass to the music, which, believe it or not, can go a really long way when you're, dealing with sound quality inside a room like that. Those things combined with the lighting change, it really went a long way. And I remember that scenario, it impressed me because they didn't have a huge budget. They didn't have a lot to spend, but they could add one new program and change 3 small things. And they did that, and it went a long way with their member satisfaction. So I think there's a lot of clubs out there doing really great things. Some of my personal favorites have to do with lighting and changing the environment to be super fun and different than what people are used to expecting when they walk into a group fitness room.
90%, over 90% typically of recurring members are group fitness people. These are people that come back to the club 1 to 5 times a week. Why do you think that group fitness should be a focus for club owners moving forward? Is anything drastically going to change in that market?
So why should it be a focus? If you look at that statistic and you really think about, if you're a club owner, the people that are dedicated to group fitness coming into that room, taking up that space, the guy or the girl that claims the, upper right-hand corner of the room and is always there 5 minutes early with their items laid out necessary for class, that is one heck of a dedicated member. And retaining that member and keeping that person happy is a much more affordable expense than retaining brand new members. So if I could urge club members to think about something, it's when you're thinking about the topic of group fitness. And it can be quite a daunting task because there's so many moving pieces to managing that department. Really thinking about the cost of losing those individuals that come to those classes every day, buffed up against, what it really looks like to retain new people. And my argument would be that keeping those people really happy and engaged is very important. I think there's a number of reasons why they stay more engaged versus maybe other members. I think it has a lot to do with community and the relationships that are built inside the room. And
we can open this Group X room up for more money, whether it's a big box gym or, like you said, someone who's just changing the lighting, just changing the music. What are the key things beyond just the environment themselves? What about the programs to get people into the classes themselves? What's been really moving the needle for clubs that you've worked with and what you think might happen in the future to actually get new members and prospective members back into the Group X room?
It has a lot to do with being consistent with your schedule. As boring as that might sound, think about it this way. If I'm a member and I want to take a weight-bearing class like group power or body pump or one of those types of classes, if I can't take that class every other day at a similar time, it becomes very hard for the member to then integrate that into their schedule. I can't tell you more frustrating, than anything as a consumer of group fitness is when you're trying to build a schedule for yourself and the class times don't work with your schedule. So whenever I've worked with clubs before, as simple and non-sexy as that sounds, really being practical about when do people come to your club and what are the classes that are going to really help them make a difference? If, Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon, yoga is a more practical choice to a strength-bearing class because of the nature of the volume of people in your club and what they're requesting of you, then that's what should get scheduled. As far as formats and programming, I think we're so fortunate in our industry because the level of innovation and creativity and brilliance in the minds of people creating programs is through the roof. And so, I mean, not a month doesn't go by that I hear of another program that's out there as an option for club owners to bring in and for instructors to be trained in. And so my opinion is when you look at a schedule and you look at those time blocks for members, being realistic about the tried and true workouts that people really need. So strength training, cardio, some stretching, yoga, movement. I think you have to cover your bases. And whether the formats are the hottest, newest thing that you can find, or there are 20, Body Pump's been around for 25 years, and I think they just released their 100th release, and that program still works for a lot of people, and it works for me too. So I think it's, you can be very mindful about balancing your schedule in that way, but don't get over, carried away. I think one of the interesting things about our industry is that I think we as the professionals within the industry are more interested than some of the innovation than the consumer is. I think the consumer is looking for consistent results, and we might be going, what's the newest, greatest thing I can offer? And our member might be saying, I would like to lose 5 pounds and feel great and keep it simple. I think we want to be dazzled and they just want help.
This is such a great point because consistency factor, you had said it might not be the sexiest thing. However, you can use schedules. You can use geofencing. We talked with Dave Wright last week about clubs that are using different technology to bring in people that aren't even on EFT. So people can get enticed to come into a group fitness class, try out the class, and then before you know it, they're a member at the gym. That live class experience, Linz, that is probably the most important thing in combination with the technology. So the clubs that are doing a great job for that live class, what does that live class look like? How do you get people from start to finish to want to come back again?
Well, I think there's a couple of things that keep people really engaged. With I think technology's ability to impact that space happens a lot socially. So some instructors that I see do a really great job of posting a picture of their class, tagging people, of course, with their permission of, hey guys, can I tag you? And most people are thrilled to not have to check themselves into the gym, but be noticed for being there, let's be honest. And there's this instructors that do a really good job of that. They build a great following for themselves. And I just saw on Facebook the other day a class I regularly teach of hers. She's getting ready to go out on leave. And a couple of students had commented on her page, like, we missed you this morning. We missed the pictures. Like, they're craving that community and that digital engagement of what's happening when they leave the class. They like the picture. They like that they're connected in that way. And when you step back and look at it, those aren't even things that the club is driving. That's the instructor driving that. And so I think that's one way. I've also seen whether gamification was integrated in or not. Let's say you and I go to a class and we both have on Fitbits and we're in the community on our Fitbit, right? So we can see each other's results, et cetera. And we kind of compete inside the class and then compare results over coffee after class. That's another great way to, motivate each other inside of classes. A pretty, not typical, but a very industry standard thing that you might see is like launch parties. So a lot of the education companies within the industry work off of a quarterly launch. And the clubs that really want to use those programs to drive membership, they will schedule quarterly launch parties to release the new choreography, and they'll schedule it up and they'll make it in tandem with a membership special. So bring a friend to class today, and first month is free if you enroll after class. And then they're encouraging people to join the facility really because of that program.
And I think that people are coming into the club for one of two reasons, right? They either want to let go of old weight or they want to improve their health. So for the long term, the group fitness model, what are you really excited about when we look at the changes tech can bring to enhancing the new members coming in and then also enhancing the experience for the ones that are already there?
Yeah. So one of the things that I think is so cool is the virtual offerings. And my opinion is that virtual is not there to replace the live instructor experience. It's there to enhance and then move around it. So there's a lot of people, for instance, there's a lot of 24-hour fitness facilities like that name, and then a lot of other facilities that are 24 hours open a day. And if you're a nurse that works a shift that you get off work at 2 a.m, why should you be limited to not be able to take a class at 3 a.m. if that's your gym time, if that's when you go to the gym? So I love this concept of being able to walk into a group fitness room, select the program, that I want to participate in, and then have that class start for me. And the instructor is virtual. I get to take the class. And then in a perfect world, maybe that same enhanced lighting experience and music experience is offered to me, whether there's a person there or not. And to me, that opportunity to serve members in that way is invaluable. So if I'm a club operator today and I'm not looking at the live experience with the virtual experience, I think you're missing something there.
Oh, that is such a great point. I was at 24 last week here in San Diego, and I walked by, just happened to walk by. I think it was like 8 o'clock, 8:30 at night. And typically not prime time on the floor. I look over, there's 30 people in this room taking a spin class with a projection on the wall. So this is something that it really shocked me that at 8:30 at night, there was that many people in the club. And I think that can build a following. Linz, do you think that digital group fitness can build the same following that having a live instructor can, or will live instructors always trump digital?
That's such a great question. As artificial intelligence gets better and all of the different ways that, if there's who's to say that 5 years from now or even less time than that, if that same cycling class is no longer on a screen and it's a 3D person walking around the room, you could argue that could be competitive to a person. I don't know, because I don't know what that level of it's going to look like. I think in its current positioning, the way that it currently is that you can't replace a personality, and you can't, the screen isn't going to post the picture on Facebook tagging you in the workout. There are misses, but I think what is there is that if I'm a club owner, you can schedule classes on the hour for every hour that you're open, and then just specify on the schedule virtual offering or live offering. But my gosh, who knows, in the future, there might be some pretty cool things that you and I have not thought of yet that group classes will offer in the future that might really come close to duplicating what a person can do. Who knows? I
think we're at the tip of the iceberg, because most clubs don't even have this mobile technology where they're messaging members about what times classes are coming and geofencing. I don't know the percentages there, but this is something that's exponentially growing. I'm excited because you're the first ever guest to be in this new section of the show. It's the Fit 6 round. This is 6 questions for 6 real answers. Are you ready?
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay.
What's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received when it comes to being authentic in a fast-paced industry and world?
Ooh, pause. Give yourself a chance to pause. You don't have to do things too fast. You can do it at your own pace.
How do you believe tech will impact busy working parents specifically that use health clubs over the next 5 years?
I think the ability to reach outside of your own capacity. So I think about in my own life what Amazon Prime does for me that Target errands don't. So going to, so my ability to stand in line at the post office, and I literally just did this day, stand in line at the post office and order in the items that are coming in my Prime order instead of going and running another errand. Yeah. To me, if you have an existing full schedule, anything that's allowing you to automate part of your lifestyle without having to worry about it getting done or not is a huge, huge bonus.
Now, this is a sidebar question. We're still going to go through the other 3, but in that same regard, as we start cutting out these monotonous tasks, do you feel like they'll get filled with more responsibility, or does it take mindfulness to open those slots up and fill them up with things that'll really be of service?
Okay, so this is a killer question in such a good way, because I think one of the hardest parts about our future for people is going to be, if they don't have to do things they don't want to do, what will they do? Mm. And that is a very big question for people to unpack, because how many people have you heard that say they go on vacation and it takes them 3 days to unwind because they're so dialed up? Yes. I think that a big choice of ours moving forward will be, when we are assisted in these ways, what are the things that we absolutely love doing that we want to contribute to the world that we're going to choose to fill that time with? And I think that actually learning to enjoy ourselves and maybe, choose to go on a picnic with family and turn all the phones off, that's going to be a challenge for a lot of folks because it's such a shift. But I think those big gaps in time are going to allow us to really soak in the humanity of what's available or not.
Yes. So what I'm hearing from you is the seamlessness of the tech can create, with mindfulness, people doing something like a new class they've never done before because they just simply have the time. It's something they can plug into their busy schedules. I love that you said that. Now, what has surprised you in the past 3 years in the intersection of fitness and tech, and why? If you look back, what's been the most surprising?
What has surprised me so far is I've not seen a ton of virtual reality come into the space yet. I think that it will, but one of the things that I'm excited about is to be able to see that. And I mean, I'm Googling it, I know it exists, but as far as like somebody really stepping out and saying, here's how you do it,
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough of that, I think, for the number of commercials to be on Prime TV that are and not have a more readily available stream of information for club owners. It'll be interesting to see what the heck we're supposed to do with that technology as the health club industry expands upon it.
And it'll be interesting to see what's at URSA in a few days, because I'm almost positive there's going to be something like that there.
There
Do you
has
agree?
to be. Of course, yes. And I'm really anticipating, because I've done some research and I kind of have some ideas, but as far as who's going to really stick their neck out there and go, all right, this is how you do it. This is what it looks like. Here's how a national chain can absorb the concept, because it's becoming such a big deal in a lot of other spaces.
Lindsey, for a lot of trainers and club owners, the path to being successful and being profitable isn't always easy. Can you share a difficult moment that you rose above in your career growth in fitness?
I think that anytime we're presented with the opportunity to learn something that moves us out of our comfort zone, it's an opportunity for growth. And being able to function through the discomfort. I'm thinking through some, points in my career where it was leadership and, management. I've been often brought to the question of, if this is a marathon, how do you plan on really pacing yourself? What is the pace that you're going to choose? And I think the coaching that I've gotten around finding my own pace has been invaluable, because my learning opportunity and my learning edge usually comes in the form of speed and how it is that I am, choosing to be with other people's paces instead of running ahead of them and expecting them to catch up. I think it's important to pace with the people that we're leading and be, able to lead them, but be mindful of their pace and what they're capable of.
What is one or even a few of the really powerful books you've read that have helped fuel your growth in this fitness space?
Gosh, okay, so they're not fitness specific. I would say that they're more leadership based, but I think that's leadership is something that can be applied to every single industry. And one of my favorite all-time books is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I read that book for the first time when I was 16 or 17, and it has always stuck with me. And the latest, my favorite iteration of not that book, but something similar is Never Eat Alone, another fabulous book. And then my all-time favorite book around business and leadership, Good to Great by Jim Collins, is a fabulous book. And I could probably keep going.
I should have known. Yeah, I should have asked you, what are your top 10?
I was like, How long do we have?
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question, Linz. What does this intersection of fitness and tech mean to you? In other words, what new possibilities for both health and business do you see coming to fruition?
To me, what's really cool about technology in general is the underbelly of it is that it gives everybody the opportunity to amplify things instead of replace them with technology. It just makes things better. So if I'm going to go for a walk, how fabulous is it to know my heart rate, know the incline of where I was walking, and know the number of steps I took, and then share that with a friend. So it's like, my walk becomes more amplified. And so to me, every part of the facility and our gyms, every part of what our members come there to do, if it's amplified with technology, it's only going to enhance the user's experience, not rob them of any engagement with humans, but in contrast, allow them to be more connected with people because maybe they're not thinking about things that they were before. It's distracting them less. And so I think the ongoing opportunity for the future is going to be to not be afraid of technology robbing us of a human experience, but realize it's really here to help us enhance that experience. And when seen from that perspective, it's nothing but abundance, not scarcity.
You can learn more about Lindsey at Lindsey Rain H2O. That's the number 2. Lindsey, we talk so much about different parts of fitness tech in the group setting. For a club owner or a savvy trainer or just a club leader that wants to use tech for group fitness over the next 2 years with all the changes that are possibly coming, could you give them a parting piece of guidance for them to go to as a trusted resource? What's something that you use on a regular basis in your life and your career to learn about what's next in fitness and tech?
Yeah, Josh, I think it's about paying attention. So whether it's, I personally use Apple News and Feedly to stay up to date on the most current tech trends, not just paying attention to what's going on in the fitness industry, but outside of our industry. And then we have a plethora of wonderful resources within our industry that are providing us regular, and I can send each of you details on those tutorials if you're interested. But I think it has more to do with paying attention and not just thinking about what's happening within each person's health club, but what's going on in the world at large, technology at large, and then staying abreast on that information so that you're constantly educating yourself on what's out there.
I want to read your mission statement on your site before we say goodbye. You put, "From anywhere in the world, I support transformational change, powered by authenticity and integrity, igniting radical shifts wherever I go." Lindsey, thanks so much for sharing your time and energy on the show. We'll be following you really close in 2017.
Thanks, Josh.
With so many moving pieces to manage in a successful Group X program, Lindsey urges club owners to focus on the cost of losing a loyal member who participates in Group X buffed up against the cost of a new member acquisition. A loyal Group X member stays for a number of reasons, but above all else, it's the connection to a community and the personal relationships that are made inside the room. With new advances in virtual and live streaming classes that can help serve all club members at their deepest needs, beyond the use of technology, Lindsey reminds club owners to not overlook the simple yet effective changes of class music and lighting, which can prove a tremendous impact on the experience and support member retention. With the pace of change in technology options rising for Group X, Lindsey believes the most important thing is to slow down and begin evaluating what's currently working by surveying members on how you might improve. In club operations on and off the Group X and fitness floor, Lindsey reminds us there is power in the pause. Thank you for listening to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast. Here's a quick message from Brian O'Rourke.
Hey, Josh, thanks so much for doing this great podcast. Friends, if you're enjoying this podcast, you're really going to enjoy following at Fit Tech Council. Follow me at Brian K. O'Rourke. And you'd really, really do us a big favor if you could go on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this and give us a 5-star. If you're enjoying it, please give us a 5-star and please share this podcast. Help spread the word about technology and the great opportunities it is creating for our industry space. Thanks so much for listening.